Happy Monday, Farm Fam. This rainy morning is going to require a few cups of coffee to get me started as I do my best to occupy the children without being able to take them outside into the nice weather, say goodbye to my husband, and then we go ahead and take a look at how I need to get started for the day. We're going to keep the house nice and warm today without running the heat. Then I call the animals in and we'll get them fed for the morning, starting with the dogs, of course. And then I guess I should probably feed the cats too, considering that they're going to steal the dogs' food anyways. And last but not least, I better feed a couple of the birds here before they start stealing both the dogs and the cats' food. You guys can figure out what the pecking order here is, like literally. Next, I enjoy myself another cup of coffee while my baby gets a morning cuddle. And we get right to a little bit of computer work. Don't worry, I won't reveal the bail too much. That's some content creation at work. And then I head right outside with the kids for morning chores. A few days rain means I make sure the kids are all bundled up and ready for the weather. And then we head out for the day. And we're starting things off strong this morning with both girls being ready and willing to help. We'll see how long that lasts. I find the trick to keeping the kids involved is to actually find things that they can do for themselves. Here I let them just go ahead and feed the free-range birds like crazy while I get to moving all the rabbits. We are up to 30 rabbits here, so making sure that I move them to fresh grass every day to cut down on feed costs is vital right now. As the weather starts to get nice, my plan is to build a few more rabbit tractors so I can keep things organized. But for now, I'm using what I got, and it's definitely helping to improve our grass already. Here you can see the kids are keeping themselves busy. Knock on wood, we haven't had any more losses with the meat birds, and they are looking good. With the rain passing at the beginning of the week this week, I'm hoping to get them out to grass probably Tuesday or Wednesday. The kids start to get rowdy, so I ask my babysitter to go and check on them. She keeps them in line for me. I make sure all these birds have fresh water and lots of food. And I turn the heat lamps back on as it's still a pretty chilly day here. Keeping the kids happy and occupied here in the yard is easy, but it's when I have to get them to follow me up to the barn that things get a little bit difficult, and the baby specifically starts to give me a hard time. I never have to convince Gemma or Clay to follow me though. Harper, on the other hand, she's teething and hasn't been sleeping well, so I try to remind myself to have patience with her and give her a little extra comfort. Easier said than done sometimes. Breakfast time for Bobby means I remove her from the sheep and give her her own space so they don't steal it. And then Harper continues to demand that I hold her the entire time I do chores, which is a perfect demonstration of farm mom life. Everything has to be done with one hand or a screaming baby following behind most days. Here my poor toddler is explaining that a chicken has pecked her and won't give her her eggs. These darn broody hens. It must be springtime. But we have enough chicks expected this month, so I'm going to go ahead and move those from underneath her. And she can just settle right back in where she was. And that's it. My toddler's job is done. She can settle in. All she needed was eggs, and she's happy. Still struggling to find out what keeps Harper just as happy, but it might start with the sheep. This was definitely the most interest she showed and the least amount of time that she spent crying up at the barn today. The sheep and her seem to have a special bond. But the happy mood on Harper doesn't last long, and I go ahead and try to finish up the rest of the chores quickly. And in the meantime, I try to distract her with some cute baby bunnies. Harper doesn't seem to have as much interest in the animals as her sister, but she can always find other things to keep her occupied in the meantime. And my darn cows are not quite sure why these new sheep are getting all the attention, so they always come to visit me as I'm doing my barn chores these days. They don't realize I'm just trying to keep the darn sheep alive, and I don't actually love them any more than I do the cows. In fact, Patty knows the special place in my heart will always be hers. And that's all for the barn chores this morning. Everyone's fed, watered, and happy, and we managed to avoid the hailstorm that arrived while we were in the barn. Now I just have to convince Harper to leave. I drop off some fencing material to Gaston, who has not let the weather affect his work ethic at all. And I finally give a little extra attention to my poor, tired, crying baby. Nothing a snack and a nap won't fix on a day like today. And a good 45 minutes later, and a lot of tears, we are finally back at the house and ready to go on in for lunch. My toddler takes a look at her daily collection and counts how many more eggs we need for a full dozen. I swear she's going to be the only kindergartner that counts to 12 rather than 10. I make use of some of the buttermilk I have left over from the butter I made this weekend and feed the crotch goblins. And that's about time for a nap for everyone.